Okay, good morning class. How are you today? Okay, good. By the way, I am your teacher advisor. I am Alvenjer Bahasuan. I am graduated at Stratford International School. Please, Miss Angelique, please lead us the prayer. Okay, very good. Thank you very much, Miss Angelique. Class, is there any absent today? Okay, very good. Because today we are going to do an activity. Okay, you will find out later. Before that, I will group you into two groups. This portion will be the group 1 and this portion will be the group 2. Okay. We have an instruction for you, class. Our instruction for this activity, I will give an example of stories and you will gonna act it. Did you understand? Okay, very good. Okay, we're done to our activity for today. So, can I ask you? Okay, Mr. Cardo, what did you observe on the activity that you've done a while? Okay, very good. Nice answer to you. Okay, Mr. Hanafi, what did you observe? What can you feel when acting the story? Okay, very emotional. Very good answer. So, before I will tell you what was the topic for today, I will ask you on what is your idea. Now we've done for the activity and I ask you on what was your idea or what is your idea for the topic for today? Mr. Omar, do you have an idea? Okay. Okay. My turn, class. Our topic for today is all about plot of a story. Now, is anyone else can tell me what is the plot of the story? Okay, Mr. Omar again. Okay, very good. A plot of a story happens in a story. However, a plot is not a simple sequence of events. A strong plot is centered on one moment, an interruption of pattern, a turning point, or an action that raises a dramatic question which must be answered throughout the course of the story. So, the plot of a story is when we have a problem in a story, the plot will answer that. Will have the solution. You said here, however, a plot is not a simple sequence of events. A strong plot is centered on one moment. So, plot is centered on one moment. Okay, class? Plot focuses on one moment. Now, let's move to the elements of plot. Okay, what are the 5 elements of plot? You, Mr. Angelique, Miss Angelique, what are the elements of plot? Okay, very good. Let's have some clap for Miss Angelique. Okay, the elements of plot are the exposition, the rising action, climax, falling action, and resolution or the denouement. Okay. Exposition was the first element of a plot in a story. Exposition, they said here, this is your book's introduction. So class, exposition was the introduction. Okay, when we say introduction, where you introduce your characters, establish the setting, and begin to introduce the primary conflict of your story. So, in the exposition or introduction, we, as a story writer or a storyteller, we are beginning or we are establishing, we are introducing the character, the setting, and the primary conflict of your story. Okay, did you get it? Okay, let's move on to the rising action, the second element of the plot. So, the rising action are normal action normally begin with an inciting incident. So, when we say rising action, that was the story starting to introduce the conflicts or the going to the climax. What we call this, the story was little on fire. So going to fire. When we say fire, the climax. Okay, let's move to the climax. Climax is the peak of tension, plot, and character in your story. So climax, the encounter of antagonist and protagonist. When we say antagonist, you, Omar, what is antagonist? Okay, very good. Angelique, protagonist. Okay, good. Very good. Okay. Encountering of protagonist and antagonist. When we say climax, the story, the main characters of a story, which is the antagonist and protagonist, are encountered by each other. Okay, did you get it? Let's move on to the falling action. When we say falling action, this is the time to start resolving conflicts and subplots. Okay, falling action is the time for you to resolve the conflicts. When we say conflicts, the problem of the story. Example of conflicts of the story. Man versus himself, man versus society, man versus community. Okay, that was the example of, that was the parts or types of conflicts. When we say falling action, we are, okay, very good, resolving conflicts and subplots. Let's go to the resolution or the last elements of plot in a story. The resolution is the end of your story where you can tie up the final loose ends and bring your stories to its happy or tragic ending. Okay, resolution. when we say resolution, class, no matter what your story ends, even if happy ending or tragic ending or sad ending, then that was your resolution. If the main character died on a story, died in the end, at the end of the story, then that was the resolution. That was the resolution for the problem to this story. Okay, class? No matter what your story ends, happy or tragic ending, that was the story. No story, the lesson learned that we have, that we get to this topic, or the elements of the plot, don't depend that you are antagonist. Okay? Because in the ending, if you are destined to die for the resolution, no antagonist to be rise up. Any questions? Any clarifications? Okay, no clarification, no questions. Okay, I will gonna ask you. My turn to ask you, class. Express, okay, Mr. Omar, express what is importance of a plot in a story. Okay, very good. Okay, class, before we end the class today, I will gonna give quiz to you. Okay, in a one whole sheet of paper, I have a story here, an example of a story, another example of a story. You will define what was the plot or the exposition, the rising action, the climax, the falling action, and the resolution of that story. Okay, did you get it? Okay, you may start now. Okay, are you done? Please pass your paper. Okay, thank you. Okay, before we end this class, please advance reading the title of the story, The Crow and the Eagle, for our next meeting discussion. Okay? Okay, goodbye, class.